Welcome to the show, The Antithesis, aka Education Made Visible. Come with me. Shh, class is in session. Welcome to The Antithesis, aka Education Made Visible, where we talk about stories in the news that are about educational issues. Some of the stories are funny, some are quirky, some are stupid, some are just stories that we want to talk about. Here's one that I don't know how to categorize. The title of the headline of the story was Stealing Education.
So the story is about Tanya McDowell, who last year was convicted on stealing education for her 6-year-old son. And so she enrolled her son in a district that she did not live in. But she got 12 years, but she also was convicted on drug charges. And it's kind of hard to tease apart exactly
I didn't know
how much time she, the story doesn't really cover what she was actually arrested on. But it does say that the angle is that she was arrested because she stole education, which really gets at the other issues, of.
So they were accusing her of stealing education because she enrolled her son in a school district. In a school that she did not, in a zone that she did not live in.
People do that all the time.
Right.
Oh, People do that all the time. We had kids who I knew did not live in the area that my school was zoned to, but because they wanted to give their child that education, because it was pre-kindergarten, they wanted to make sure that their kids are able to go there.
And I have a friend who wants to do the same thing, but she can't afford the houses in the neighborhoods where the good schools are.
Yeah. Right. More effective.
Yeah. So why is this woman being convicted?
But the school does have the right to investigate and kick the child out of the school. They do.
You have to consider, is this stuff?
Yeah.
Look at it. There's a cost. It's about $13,000 a year to educate a child in the district.
Right.
So if you steal $13,000.
Yeah. Okay. But this brings up the issue of do we need to send this parent to jail? I mean. Does this warrant? No, it doesn't. This is a parent wanting to give their child a better education.
Well, I think the story is more about, there's more to it. It's about the child selling drugs at the school, right?
The mom.
I think the mom was selling drugs.
So really,
I don't
think.
No, not at the school.
Oh, okay. She was selling drugs.
So
why is that relevant? Why
I
is that
don't
important?
think the jail sentence was because of that.
No, actually, part of her charge was like fraudulent.
That's part of it.
Taking of education.
I know, but what does the mother selling drugs have anything to do with her stealing education? They're two totally different things.
That is exactly
why
my
do they
point.
Have to
That's why the story is like, I don't know how to categorize the story.
I don't think she's getting 12 years for stealing.
No, I don't
but that's
think
the way
so.
it's presented, and that's not the real story is that parents are enrolling their kids in other schools that they're not, paying property taxes for.
I think the real story really is, why do parents need to do that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So here's another story that's sort of interesting. It is a Facebook story. So there was a principal who was posing as a student on Facebook, and he named himself Susie something. And Susie was quite popular. Susie had lots and lots of friends. And I don't exactly know why he did this. It seemed like it had something to do with saving the job of the coach or something.
Okay, so it's a female principal, and she had been in this district for about 20-something years. And the principal, they were saying, fired the coach, and the coach was very popular, and so she basically wanted to find out what people were saying, what kids in the neighborhood and the community were saying. So she, posed as Susie Kreiner, a pseudonym on Facebook, and had like 600 friends. I mean, she has more friends than I do. She had 600 friends on Facebook, and was very popular until a student said, hold on a second, I think you all need to, not say anything else, because Susie Kreiner is actually the principal. And so she lost, I think she either resigned or she was asked to leave.
So that brings up issues of privacy.
Exactly. And does the
Falsely representing
you know,
yourself.
that's exactly what it is, because she's not. I mean, it's kind of creepy to me. I mean, I know you want to find out, but I think
it's all
kind of creepy.
and the principal was wrong doing it. But also, when I get an invite from someone on Facebook, I need to know who that person is before adding them. So, you know, there's that part of it too.
But that's you.
that-
You're an adult. How many kids are like, "Woo, I have someone on Facebook, like, friend, yes,
Yeah.
thumbs up." I mean, they don't care. It's a contest.
But that
they
should
want to
be,
have as many
I don't
friends
know,
as
I
they
think
can.
that
yeah.
should be a lesson learned, because that's
Yes.
where all the
Yes.
creepy people are.
I
doing
agree.
that.
Right. Yeah.
What? Facebook is where all the creepy people
Well,
are?
they
No,
can't go
that's
Some of the creepy people.
Some
You
of
can
the
have
pe-
child
they do
pictures
that.
on
Yes.
Facebook.
on there
Right.
posing as a student.
Right.
You do have that happening.
We have a lot of that
So
happening.
the students have to take
So that's a
precautions.
good
They
lesson
have to learn.
learned, is that before you add someone on Facebook, you know who they are. Do I know this person?
Yeah, no, Donna and I have a dropout prevention program that's called Do School. So the goal is to get kids to stay in school and to graduate. And we have a Facebook page that we named after the program. And so there's like, you know, well, what do we do with that? Because we're totally above board about who we are, that we're this program.
And what
we
you're
don't
doing.
know if Mr. Zuckerberg is going to shut us down or what, but we're totally out front about who we are.
And I'm pretty sure, I don't remember how many friends we have to count, but I'm pretty sure many of them don't realize that we're an after-school program. I mean,
There you go.
we're transparent about
Like,
it. But they
I
just
just wanna
like
have some
friended
friends.
us because
Exactly.
we were friends with their friends.
That's
and,
right.
And
Yeah.
thank goodness we're doing
We're doing
using
the
that-
right thing,
We're doing the right
but-
thing. But it's
Yeah.
very easy to get access.
Yes.
Yeah.
Into people's lives through Facebook.
Through
Yeah.
other social media,
yes.
Twitter,
Yeah, all of it.
Instagram, all of it.
All of it, yeah. This last story that I want to look at is a story that it's sort of complicated, actually. It's the title of the headline was Meet the worst 8th grade math teacher in New York City.
Okay.
I know.
Vernon, that you're the worst.
Yeah, so this woman, she actually teaches at a gifted and talented school. And she, last year, her 7th graders, after being with her for a year, scored on the 98th percentile of the test, of the standardized test for the state. And because of that high score, it was predicted that the following year, when they were 8th graders, that they would score at least on the 97th percentile.
Oh my goodness.
But they didn't. They only scored in the 89th percentile. And so because of the difference,
Loss.
her as a teacher, she was scored at the very bottom of all teachers in New York City,
Oh my goodness.
despite the fact that she got those kids up to the 98th percentile in 7th grade and 89th in the 8th grade.
So they publicized this teacher and her score. So let's get back to what we were talking about with humiliation
Yeah.
and teachers feeling pressured to
Yeah.
teach to a test because it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
That if I don't do a good job, you're going to shame me, you're going to humiliate me, you're going to make me the worst teacher. I think that is ridiculous.
And
They're
also
not really saying that, are they? The numbers say that.
Well,
the
her-
interpretation numbers.
Well, she was
They're not
very
saying that, are
upset, and her principal says, "Well, I assure you that you're a great teacher, and that I would give you a recommendation." However, her principal said, not to the teacher, but her principal said to the reporter, "I am concerned because with a new superintendent coming in, which is all going on in New York City, that they're going to be just looking at these scores."
Well, we know that that's what they do because
Yeah.
there's no other way to have a broad-based accountability system. We know
Yeah.
that that's what they do.
Yeah.
But I think that's wrong. And so now,
But how
maybe that's why
That's
this is getting
nationwide.
pressed.
They're doing that nationwide. They look at teachers through test scores. But I still go back to saying that as an educator, I was in the classroom, and you can get those kids to perform without worrying and teaching to the test. You can do it. It can be done by engaging children.
yeah.
Yeah, but how do we hold schools accountable in areas where there aren't people who are responsible and passionate about children? Because that was going on when I was in school. Like the schools that I attended in my neighborhood, they weren't teaching us very much of anything, but there was no accountability system because we didn't have these testing.
I think it's what Roy was saying. We have to engage the community. You know, it has to be, we have to teach parents that they have to be advocates for their children because if they don't become an advocate, if they don't have a voice, then they don't know what's going on and they can't promote and make sure that their child gets the best education
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
afforded to them.
you know, we need parents to do that, but what about the system? How does the
Right.
system hold teachers accountable?
Yeah, but the
if
system
not this way.
Yeah, but the system
What
is
way?
run by people, right? So you have to also engage people in the process and empower folks to be educated about what their rights are. Just because this is the way that schools are run, and I'm speaking as an educator, I'm speaking as a principal, I'm speaking as someone who many times I had to fight against what I knew was wrong, but because I represent the system, I would always tell my parents, well, you know, you don't have to put up with that, right? just don't tell them that I told you, because
Yes.
if parents don't
Parents
know,
have so much power.
Yeah,
They don't realize it.
they don't realize.
They do not know.
Right.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this talk. We will continue this discussion. We hope that you will as well. And class is dismissed. Good night.